All information contained in this podcast is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. You should consider the appropriateness of this information with regards to your individual objectives, financial situation, and needs. Welcome to Sharing More Than the Sheets, a podcast to help you and your partner make better financial and lifestyle decisions so that you can both focus on the things that you love. I'm your host, Michael Khouri, financial planner, green thumb, husband, and just dad. This segment is called Michael's Magic Moment. It's my opportunity to play a little snippet from one of our previous episodes, which resonated with our listeners, that I received feedback from, or I felt really had an impact on some people's lives. Hope you enjoy it. So this episode about dealing with uncertainty is a big one. And for me, coming at it from a few different angles, as a business owner, as a financial advisor, as an investor, as a father. And I've noticed over the years there are many different ways that people handle uncertainty. Yes, of course, some people are just naturally more positive than others, but it still doesn't mean that all positive people handle uncertainty really well. And it doesn't mean that all people that can be negative about certain things handle it really bad. It's just about the approach that we take dealing with the situation. And as a financial advisor, when I talk to my clients about this, usually it's more around someone's work situation, financial situation, share markets, interest rates, things like that. And no one has a crystal ball, but for me as an advisor, it's just about dealing with the possible outcomes and just making sure that someone's placed or they're in a position mentally and financially to be able to deal with the outcome of this uncertainty. So this goes back to a great episode, which I love. I get to give my favorite food a plug, which many of you may not have heard of and probably never will hear of after this episode. But I'm interviewing Ivor Lok, who is a high-performance coach, has worked with some big people like Tony Robbins and many different types of many people of different walks of life. He's got so much experience. It was actually really nice back then in 2023 to sit down with him and talk about this idea of uncertainty. And I hope you enjoy, and I encourage you to go back and listen to the whole episode because I think anyone can get something out of it. It was very hard for me to find my favorite part in this episode, but I think I found one that you might benefit from. Enjoy.
I know that we can live a happier, more relaxed life every single day if we choose to. And that's the big word. And that when we choose to live that way, we can absolutely live that way. However, most people choose to live life on the other side, looking at everything that's happening from a negative perspective, whether it's interest rates, whether it's not having enough money, whether it's having an argument with their loved one or arguments with their children, or having somebody do something to them or perceived having something done to them. And I think the way that we perceive life is so important, because if we don't get a grasp of having and looking at life in a completely different way, we have this ability to actually what we call suffer. And most people at the end of the day are suffering because of the way that they view life.
And what does uncertainty create all this emotion? I mean, I think the simple way to explain it would be that, as humans, we like to be comfortable, we like routine, we like knowing what's around the corner. But is there more to it than that? Is there, because to some people, they love uncertainty. For me, yes, I'm not massively comfortable with it, but I like the fact that next week things could be completely different to this week. Whereas others, their comfort zone is very, very, a lot smaller than that. And they absolutely hate it.
100%. I think the thing is we love things to be certain, but let me put it in this way. When we actually really look at certainty, and it's really a fundamental human need. Tony Robbins talks about it all the time. He talks about our 6 human needs, and one of them being certainty. And when we actually have a look at certainty gives us a bit of a thinking process and a mental attitude that says everything is going to be okay. So when we look at certainty and everybody yearns for it, they want everything done in a certain way. They want it, it's called habits in a way. They want it done this way. They want it done that way. They want it done that way because they know what the result is going to be at the end of the day. Or they think they know what the result is going to be at the end of the day. However, when we have a look at certainty, and I'll ask you this question, Michael, because it's really interesting, and I want all of your listeners to think about this as well. When you think about certainty, I want you to think about, so if you had to have your favorite meal, and it had to be your favorite meal, your last meal of your life, what would that be? And I'll throw that towards you, Michael. What would be your favorite meal that you'd have?
Oh, for me, it would be, my wife makes this thing called mlukhiyi. It's like a Middle Eastern food, and it's if I know I'm having that for dinner, I don't eat all day.
Fantastic. I should come have some of that as well.
Oh, it's amazing.
Well, look, the thing is, okay, that's great. So you know that is one of your favorites, okay? So what if I said I offered that to you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? How would you feel then?
Feel great.
Feel great. Awesome. So if I did that and I offered you that for a month, how would you feel?
I'd feel okay.
Okay.
Probably want something slightly. I probably want to spice it up a little bit, but
you want to spice. You're starting to spice it up.
It's actually funny you say this. So just my wife at the moment is interstate seeing her family, and she's got the kids. Before she left, she'd made me a massive pot of this stuff. So I've literally had it for lunch and dinner for the last 3 days.
Oh, fantastic!
So it's actually really ironic that you're asking me this question, but
that's okay. But what happens if I say to you, all I'm going to give you is your favorite food every single day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next year? What would you say then?
I'd get over it. I'd want something.
You'd get over it. Okay. You'd be like, oh my God, I can't handle that and I'm done. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Even though it's your favorite food. And this is the problem with everybody. They have this thing that they go, well, we like that and we want it continuously. But somewhere along the line, we kind of break away from it and go, wait a minute, we're not satisfied with that. We're not satisfied just to have our favorite. And remember, it's your favorite food every single day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for the next year. Now, there are some people out there that I know, and I even say that even for those habitual people that have the same food, they will still seek some sort of variety at the end of the day. Okay? So as you can see, when we actually look at what we want for certain, in reality, what we're really seeking is a bit of variety, okay? And we call it in our world, variety is the spice of life, in a way. And when you think of most people, when they go out to eat, they very seldom eat the same food constantly every single day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They're always going to mix it up. So this is the one thing that the way that I can explain uncertainty. Uncertainty is exactly the same way. We yearn for certainty, but yet we seek uncertainty more, in a way, okay? So that's the first mindset change that people need to make, is that it's a natural occurrence to seek uncertainty. Because when you really have a look at it, if you had everything happening the same way, your life would be pretty boring, wouldn't it? Okay? So when we're getting into this world which we perceive as being uncertain, really it's just giving us variety. So when I actually coach somebody, I don't really coach them on how to manage certainty. I actually coach him on how to manage uncertainty. I don't coach him to live an easy life. I coach him to be able to, what I call, weave through life and being able to manage what's actually coming at them. Because you don't know, you love uncertainty, so you love that whole process of something coming at you and then having to deal with it ultimately. Correct?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But then there's people that you meet, for example, that have had the same job for the last 20 years. They eat the same thing for lunch. They have the same coffee in the morning. They wear the same clothes, and they're happy. And they say that they're happy, and sometimes it's because they're scared.
Well, very scared. And again, I would still hesitate to say that even with those people, they still seek some sort of variety. They might say, okay, well, I'm going to shave all my hair because I never need to worry about having a type of hairstyle, or I'll wear a certain type of clothes because I don't have to worry about those type of clothes. But those type of methodologies, if you want to put it out there, is more of a strategy of how to save time rather than a strategy of having certainty in a way. Okay, so somebody that says, okay, well, I've got 5 shirts, white shirts, and 5 black suits, and I have 7 of the same shoes that I wear all the time. Even in all of that, even although it's similar, it's not the same, because in that they probably have a favorite pair of black shoes, a favorite black suit, and a favorite white shirt that they probably want to wear in a way.
And also then if somebody's going through uncertainty, so from what it sounds like, one of the first steps is to remind themselves that this is normal, in that we need uncertainty in our lives. Is that sort of the angle that you're coming from?
Well, the thing is, it's when uncertainty is coming at us, there's one thing that we've got to see, and we've got to see things as they are. Because what actually happens is that when something is coming at us, we generally try to measure it off against something happening in our past, or even worse, we then take it into something that's going to happen in the future, in a way. And I think future driving something is even worse than actually looking at the past and saying, well, this happened to me now, this happened to me in the past, so therefore it's not a good thing. What's worse is when somebody takes it and says, okay, what's happening to me right now, and then future drives it and says, well, this is going to happen to me in the future. And that probably is the worst thing that somebody could do, because when they future drive it, they're actually then inviting it into their life. They're actually going to create that path. They're going to create that future in a way. So when we actually think about when we're having uncertainty, is sit down, and the first thing that I say to people is breathe, because we forget to breathe. When you think of somebody panicking, for instance, all you got to do is get them to breathe. Because when you get them to breathe, it then settles them down. It's like a child. You got children?
Yes, 3.
I got 2 beautiful girls. And when they're crying nonstop and we say to them, what's wrong? They can't explain anything to us, can they?
No.
Because they in this kind of like this whole kind of paradigm that they're not sure how to manage that emotion. And strangely enough, as adults, sometimes we throw tantrums, and when we don't know how to manage our emotions in that period of time, we're throwing a tantrum and we don't know how to explain to anybody what's wrong. So the first step is really like with a child, is to get them to breathe, And I always say to my kids, when they always say to them, it's okay, it's going to be okay. I just want you to simply breathe. Because I think that's the easiest thing you can help anybody with, is to get them to breathe. It's not hard. You don't have to be a psychologist to do that. You don't have to be some sort of wizard to do it. All you have to do is say to them, I just want you to take deep breaths.
And when it comes to breathing, I guess it's and correct me if I'm wrong, but sometimes it could be even taking a mental breath, taking a break and just processing what's happened, or what this uncertainty is that someone's dealing with. Because I can imagine as humans, like when something happens, we straight away, there's that, there's the neurological side of things in our brain, which is that quick action or defense, or, putting up the guards instantly just to sort of deal with what's going on. But breathing, I'm assuming, it just creates that opportunity just to sort of relax for a second and process what's going on.
100%. It's calming down the nervous system in a way. Okay. And if you're listening to this at the moment and you have anxiety, or you have like moments when you just absolutely, what I call, freak out, just simply take some nice deep breaths. And it's not like specific deep breaths. It's just like big belly deep breaths, like. And if you take that breath now, it's very relaxing, because most people actually don't take the time to breathe at all. We're moving through life so quickly, and when we're moving through life so quickly, everything is just like 100 miles an hour. And when it comes to the next thing, we just forget to breathe. Okay. And as soon as you take that deep breath, and you get anybody to take a deep breath when they're having anxiety, or when they're having a moment, as I call it, a nice deep breath in and out. Once you do that, you do have a very calming sensation coming into your body, okay? It's in that moment that you can then ask somebody, because we're then basically changing their state, okay? Because when people are freaking out, you've got to be able to change their state of mind and their state of being. So sometimes when somebody can breathe, you might want to then walk them over to another spot. It might not be far away. It might be like 3 meters away, and ask them to do some more deep breathing, because what you're then doing is you're disassociating them with that moment in time and providing a new moment in time, which is now a place of calm in a way. Yeah? So once you've got that, you can then go through the next state, which is really having a look and asking the question, so what's really happening right now? What's really happening right now? And then looking at it and seeing things as what they are right now. Not future driving it, not looking at the past, but looking at it right now. And I hear a lot of people, they tell me this is happening and this is happening because of X, Y, Z. Okay, what's this moment in time got to do with X, Y, Z? X, Y, Z happened in the past. This moment in time is brand new. So how can you relate what's happening right now to anything previous? And this is what happens a lot, actually, Michael. What actually happens a lot in it is that people take those moments and then they relate it to all these other moments, and this is what we call stacking. Yeah. So as we stack them, and as we stack these bad moments together, we kind of we have this like heaviness on us. We carry this burden because we got all of these stacked moments on us. And when you have all these stacked moments, how are you going to feel about that? If you're relating everything else that's happened bad in your life to this moment right now, in a way. So you've got to assess where you are right now, and then ask the next question, which is, so how can I see this better than what it is right now? Not that worse than what it is right now, better than what it is right now. Because if you can ask that one question, then you're actually now future driving it, but you're future driving a result that you'd want in the future. How can you make this better right now?
Thanks for joining us on Sharing More Than the Sheets. Please make sure you subscribe to be updated with future episode releases, and feel free to share this episode with any friends or family that you think it might benefit. Please visit us at sharingmorethanthesheets.com.au to submit questions or requests for future podcast topics. These podcasts have been brought to you by Better Financial Planning Australia. To book a 15-minute phone chat, visit betterfinancialplanning.com.au.